And 2 years since the October 7th Hamas attack in Israel, negotiations are underway to bring home hostages taken that day and end the war in Gaza. Nearly 1,200 people were killed and 251 were taken hostage in the terror attack. Now, indirect talks are underway in Egypt to work through phase one of President Trump's peace proposal. Earlier, the Egyptian foreign minister said an American delegation is joining talks aimed at a truce in Gaza and a hostage and prisoner exchange tomorrow. ABC News foreign correspondent Marcus Moore has the latest. So, Marcus, what else are we learning about the talks today?
Hi there, Diane. We know that these talks have been underway, and there's every sense that as we work through the various phases of these negotiations or the implementation of this plan that's being negotiated, is that this will take some time. But certainly the hope is that they can make some significant progress. And as you've noted, those negotiations are underway in Egypt with delegations from various countries involved in trying to reach some agreement. And one of the first elements of this agreement that's being discussed is securing the release of the remaining hostages. There are 48 of them, 20 who are believed to still be alive, and that is one of the key parts of this agreement in trying to reach a ceasefire, is securing the release of those hostages that under President Trump's plan would happen within 72 hours of an agreement. But Diane, that is where there are real questions about the details on when does that process start, and how do you ensure that these hostages are released? Because Hamas says they still have to find them, including those the people who've passed away, and also figure out exactly the real logistics of getting them out of Gaza and back home.
Marcus Moore, thank you. And a survivor of the Nova Music Festival massacre, Natalie Sanandaji, is here now with more. Natalie, thank you for joining us. I'm sure today is a difficult day, so we appreciate it. You live here in New York, but you went to that festival 2 years ago. What do you remember about that day, and how do you feel marking 2 years since?
I remember just running for my life for 4 hours, watching people drop right in front of me. Thinking that you're running from Hamas, and then seeing other festival goers run towards you and seeing them fall right in front of you, and realizing you're being chased from multiple directions. And then eventually being saved by a hero named Moshe Sati, who drove towards all this chaos. He saved about 300, 400 people that day. And every day I think about all the people that we lost on that day, and they're the reason I continue to speak out even until today. Everyone that we lost, everyone that was taken hostage and is still being held hostage.
Now, just 3 days after the attack, you started speaking out in support of bringing the hostages home, and you haven't stopped since. Does it feel different at all now, having been at this for 2 years, compared to what it was like those days right after?
It feels just as necessary today as it was in those first few days. I could never have imagined that it would take this long, and I'm praying so much that they come home soon. But even a couple weeks ago, I spoke to someone on the streets, and we were talking about the war and the hostages, and I was wearing my hostage pin. And this person said, I heard all the hostages were treated really nicely and they all came home safely. And I looked at this person and I said, do you consider a mother and 2 babies coming home in coffins being treated nicely and coming home safely? And this person looked at me confused, as if they had no idea what I was talking about. And that's just driving me to continue speaking. It reminds me that there's so much misinformation being spread, and that I have to continue trying to spread the truth and trying to advocate for our hostages who are still there.
You say being there that day, what happened on October 7th, transformed you into an advocate against hate. You even work for the Combat Anti-Semitism movement. You're talking about some of these conversations. Have you had any moments that stick out to you that really surprised you most in that effort?
There are definitely moments. I think the ones that surprised me most were moments where I spoke to someone who seemed so sure of what they knew and were really coming at me in such a combative way. And I did my best to stay calm and just provide them with facts and the truth. And there were some moments where I got through to someone and they messaged me either a few days later or weeks later saying that they see everything differently and that they realize things that they didn't understand before because of misinformation that's being spread. And it's moments like that that really remind me that even if I make the smallest difference, even if I change one person's point of view, that can cause a ripple effect. And I really hope it does cause a ripple effect. And I hope people do start to see the truth a little bit more.
What's your hope for the peace deal negotiations in Egypt right now?
My greatest hope is that the hostages come home. After that, we can focus on what should happen next in Gaza, in general, in the Middle East. You know, as an Iranian Jew, I want to see the IRGC gone and all of its proxies gone, including Hamas. I want to see a brighter future for everyone in the Middle East, but that can only happen once we get rid of these terrorist organizations who are ruining people's lives, who are using people as human shields, their own people. So once the hostages are home, we can really focus on what should happen next from there.
All right, Natalie Sanandaji, we appreciate it. And I'm sorry again for what you had to endure that day, hoping for more peace in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.